You know that feeling when you're hunting for flooring? You want something that looks amazing but also has to, stand up to real life. It can feel like you're searching for something that doesn't exist. Well, today we're going to look at three-strip laminate flooring. Is it really the secret to getting those timeless looks without all the hassle? Let's dive in and find out. And I think our source expert, flooring contractor James Miller, just nails it with this quote. The whole point of this flooring is getting that wow factor without breaking the bank. I mean, that's it, right? That's the dream. So that's the big promise we're going to unpack today. How exactly does it pull off that high-end look for a not-so-high-end price? Okay, so first things first. What even is this stuff? At its core, three-strip laminate is this really clever design that blends great looks with, practical everyday function. It's not just about looking good, it's actually engineered to be tough. So the whole idea here is pretty cool, actually. Instead of one big, wide plank of wood, each board is designed to look like it's made of three narrower strips all fused together. And this is where it gets smart. It's almost like a little bit of visual psychology. It creates this really dynamic, kind of rhythmic pattern that just adds a ton of depth and texture. And the result? It basically tricks your eye into seeing more movement, which can make a whole room feel bigger, warmer, and honestly, a lot more expensive than it is. All right, so how is this stuff actually put together? The source we're looking at uses a great analogy. Think of it like a layered cake. Seriously, each plank is made up of these different layers, and every single one has a very specific job to do. When you put them all together, you get something that's both really good looking and surprisingly tough. So let's slice into that cake, shall we? On the very top, you've got the wear layer. Think of it as an invisible suit of armor. It's what fights off scratches, stains, and all that daily abuse. Right under that, you get the decorative layer. And this is where the magic really happens. It's a super high-res picture that gives the flooring that authentic three-strip wood look. Then you get to the core layer. This is the backbone of the plank, usually a high-density fiberboard or HDF that gives it stability and stops it from warping. And finally, at the very bottom, is the backing layer, which adds even more support and protects against moisture. Okay, so we got what it is and how it's made. But now for the big question. Why should you care? What are the actual real-world benefits of putting this in your house? Well, it turns out it's not just one thing. There's a whole list of advantages. So let's run through the big wins here. First off, the look. It has this really luxurious vibe that can make a space feel bigger and more dynamic. Then there's the durability. This stuff is built to handle the daily grind. We're talking kids, pets, the whole shebang. And the maintenance? It's almost ridiculously easy. Forget sanding or staining, a quick sweep and maybe a damp mop is all you need. Plus, it's super versatile. It works with modern, rustic, classic, you name it. And, of course, the huge one. You get that expensive hardwood look for a fraction of the cost. But, let's be real here. Nothing is perfect, right? So to give you the complete picture, we gotta look at the downsides too. Because like any product, three-strip laminate has its pros, and it definitely has its cons. All right, so let's weigh the good against the bad. The pros, we've talked about them. It looks fantastic, it's tough, it's easy to clean, and it's affordable. But on the flip side, those little seams between the three strips can sometimes be noticeable if you look closely. It also doesn't have that same solid, feel of real wood when you walk on it. And you have to be super careful with water. Big spills can cause it to swell up. And, a big one, you can't refinish it. If a plank gets seriously damaged, you have to replace the whole thing. So to really get a feel for where three-strip laminate stands, it helps to put it side by side with the competition. How does it stack up against other popular flooring choices out there? Let's take a look. This chart really breaks it down nicely. When you're talking just pure look and feel, engineered wood probably wins because it has that real layer of wood on top. But move over to durability, and laminate actually pulls ahead. It's super scratch resistant, whereas engineered wood can dent. Vinyl, of course, has that killer feature. It's totally waterproof. But then you get to the last row, cost. And that's where laminate just shines. It is by far the most affordable way to get that classic wood look. All right, we've gone through a lot here, so let's wrap this up and bring it all together with a final checklist. These are the key things you really need to keep in mind if you're thinking about this for your own home. Okay, here are your final tips before you buy. First, check that wear layer thickness. The thicker it is, the better it'll hold up. Second, believe it or not, brand name can make a big difference in how realistic it looks. Also, think about your room's lighting when you pick a color. And please, please don't skip this next step. You have to let the boards sit in the room for a couple of days before you install them so they can acclimate. And finally, once it's down, just do the simple stuff. Use felt pads on your furniture and wipe up spills right away. Protect that investment.
So we kind of end up right back where we started. When you think about its great style, its serious durability, and that really friendly price point, could this be the secret to having your cake and eating it too when it comes to flooring? From everything we've looked at today, it sure makes a pretty strong argument.